Some thought have a certain sound, that equivalent to a form. Through sound and motion, I have the ability to paralyze nerves, shatter bones, set fires, and suffocate lungs. Sound manifested. In my previous posts, you've heard me speak about the spirit, mind, and body connection. What we're going to talk about today is what's in a word? The N in you. What I'm specifically talking about are the titles that we put upon ourselves. The things that we put our dominant thoughts on in terms of how we describe ourselves, how we present ourselves to other people. Because then that is in essence how we enact, how we display ourselves, our ways and actions in the world. So I want to start with a little simple test. I'm going to ask you to hum, because what I want to do is help you to feel the vibration, in essence, how it comes from the source and it's manifesting in your physical body. So let's take that deep breath. Hum. Now, if you're relaxed enough, what you'll feel is that vibration tingling from your head to your toe. That's that energy. Now, with that in mind, look around you. Look around your whereabouts, where you are, be it you're inside or if you're outside. What you're seeing at some point, at one point in time, it was nothing there. And through the inspiration of an individual and then a collective, if it was needed, to manifest the things that were created around you, then it became from the sound, meaning the inspiration from the higher self, the source, and processed through the mind, and then manifested, and now you have the physical. Well, it's the same thing when it comes to labels upon us. So when I was doing a workshop, or multiple workshops that I've done with youth, and we got into the science of sound, and that was the first thing that you heard me say, a quote from the movie Dune. I asked them about labels and how they applied them to themselves and what they meant to them as they applied them. So eventually I got to the word nigger. And that created a lively debate with the students. Now these are high school students and their college mentors. So I allowed them to talk it out. And consistently throughout the workshops, what I heard as I observed them was they used the word nigger as a term of endearment. And they also say that those who are not within the Americanized African culture or ethnicity cannot use the word. And they also said that they take the negativity from the word, off of the word, by changing the spelling of ER at the end to A. And I let them present their cases. And then at the end, I like to do simple in terms of my analogies. So it potentially, or hopefully, not hopefully, potentially drives home a point. So at the times that I was doing it, I imagine as I was changing the diaper of my daughter at the time when she was 2 or 3. So I said, okay. And I would put up props. I said, all right, she just had a movement. This prop is the number 2, as we explained it to the little ones. This is caca. This is doo-doo, etc. I said, are these words spelled the same? No. Do they mean the same? Yes. So by changing the ER to A, you may think that you're changing the power of it, but in essence, it comes with its own properties. Because as I explained to them, and as well as I explained in the spirit, mind, body connection, also things are manifested from that source and it inherits the properties that come with them. Now, those who have been paying attention to my previous posts may say, but wait a minute, brother. You said that energy is free flowing, and energy, what determines what is good or bad or negative or positive is the intent placed upon it. So if the word nigger that was created and created, we know the etymology. Some will say it comes from, I've read that it's come from, my research has shown that it's come from either Negro, meaning black, others, as one of my mentors said, meaning stingy. So there's definitely different in the etymology, but also in the definition in the dictionaries, it always says a racist or a negative connotation placed upon those who are, quote, African American or black people. So that is what we're focused on. That's what the larger population understands it to be. So again, going back to my explanation in terms of the intent, someone could say, well, look, the European, when they created this word or created it in its present form, their intent was negative. So by us actually taking the ER and putting the A on it, our intent makes it positive. Good point. I will then say to you, imagine this. Not imagine, picture this. If I'm walking a dog outside and I'm curbing the dog and the dog has a movement on the ground in grass like they tend to do, when I pick up the feces, I'm doing my best to pick it up off the grass, but there's still probably some remnants of it in the grass. So just like changing of the word ER to A, there's still remnants of that negativity with the word, even though you spelled it with the A. Now, with that being said, I've asked the students, so what are you using this word for? They say the term of endearment. I speak on it, when I greet my people. So I asked them, what are you substituting it for? Well, I'm brother, sister, it's my boy, other terms of endearment. So I asked, what's the reasons you're not using those words? In their intent, in their creation, they have a more positive meaning, and you don't have to deal with remnants as in the feces on the grass. You don't have to deal with the remnants of that. Crickets. Then I said, what's the reason? How would you feel if I was to call you God, Lord, King, Queen? Now, they didn't particularly have issue with King, Queen, but when I said God, I got pushback. And I said, it's quite interesting that you would take issue to me calling you God, but you have no issue being called nigga. Post-traumatic slavery syndrome. So when we think that we are kicking back or smacking the oppressor in the face by changing letters, we are actually doing the bidding and maintaining the negativity of the intent in which it was given in the first place. So now they're looking at me bewildered, like, okay, where's this brother going? I'm not, what the hell? So I said, all right, cool, check it. If those analogies don't jive with you, let me do another one. Let's look at a vehicle, because we also know the body is also considered a vehicle. So let's look at the vehicle that you drive. And let's specifically look at the vehicles that, when you look in the manual, they require that you use premium fuel. Now, you can use the lower grades of fuel for your car, but if you want it to perform at the manner in which it was designed, you need to put that premium fuel. Make sense? Yes, that makes sense, brother. Got you. Okay, so we are supposed to be vacillating between God, man, animal. At the simplest explanation of our being. So if you're using the title of nigger in a body that's supposed to be manifesting at a high level, it will enact, it will work. You can go forth and live your life, but you will not be manifesting in the manner in which you were designed by the Creator. Well, okay, I'm hearing you, but I'm not fully understanding you, brother. Okay, here's what I'm saying. Nigga is that regular fuel. God is the premium fuel. in its simplest form. So we should be manifesting or claiming the titles that we were designed, in essence, to be. And as I look around, like as I talk to people in this conversation, it's easy to point out, they'll point out, well, yeah, these are the uneducated people, you know, the brothers and sisters in the street, I hear them using this word all the time. I'm not specifically smashing on them because it's really easy to use that as a scapegoat. This is pervasive all through the Americanized African community. I've heard, quote, scholars. I've heard those personalities on TV. I've heard those who are in boardrooms, who have corporate jobs. They use this word as a term of endearment. And some will say, and they have in debating with me saying, well, bruh, you know, I'm still making money, I'm living well, I'm doing well. It's like, yeah, or so-and-so is great, and they use the word all the time, and they're at the top of their career, they're on top of the corporate ladder, they're ahead of all these other people. I'm like, no doubt, they are, and that's a testament to the greatness in reference to how we've been designed. But imagine this, or picture this. How much further would they be if they were manifesting the essence of God and only holding that in their dominant thought as they move forward in life? Where would we be as Americanized African people if that's what we manifested, if that is what we only held on to and nothing less? Yeah, food for thought. And then it was interesting to me because then I said, well, I wonder how the people of Wakanda would think about this type of conversation and dialogue in reference to putting labels like this upon ourselves, something in the regular or even below regular standard in reference to the vehicle. And then I chuckled because I said, you know what? There's probably some people out there saying, now, hold up, homie. You know, that movie was made of a fictitious place. Wakanda doesn't exist. And then I smiled and said, I know. But neither did niggas until the white man created them. There are those who speak of things, presenting imagery in which they know not the effects. These things in which they speak fall from their mouths naturally, have transformed them into beasts, although they are descendants of gods. Relishing in their tall tales of deeds, they play themselves, boasting of being kicked out, though their souls register bankrupt. Woe unto them, for they have gone in the way of Cain and ran greedily after the illusion of bling for reward, and perish in the abyss of short-sightedness. Hotep, Wakanda forever.